And this bill is upsetting everybody, especially this guy.
It's a very sad case. It's a case we win. We can't lose that case because we have the right to make grants. We're not going to make any grants like that. But I don't think Harvard's been acting very nicely. I think Columbia wants to get to the bottom of the problem. They've acted very well. And there are other institutions, too, that are acting, but Harvard's trying to be a big shot.
He is high out his mind. You ever see somebody when it just kicks in? Oh, please believe Elon is using his superpowers for good. Or evil. Whichever. Both, I guess. Anti-hero stuff. The same thing that he used to get Trump elected, minus the money, the platform I'm talking about, is the exact same thing now he's using to then state, as of recently he posted, call your senator, call your congressman, bankrupting America is not okay. Kill the bill. And then he followed that up with this little poster. Look familiar? Elon is on here losing his proverbial mind against the one big beautiful bill, although I think it is for some selfish reasons. People on the left are all saying Elon has finally seen the light, that the real reason why he's lashing out so much is because he doesn't want to bankrupt America. He was forced out of the White House when he wanted to continue working alongside Donald Trump. Why? Because you invested so much money, so therefore you want to see the full work come to fruition. That never happened. You invest millions, hundreds of millions to get this guy elected, and then he kind of just brushes you off like it's nothing. Almost like, yeah, the favor's done now. I paid you back, I gave you a little position, and now you should be happy. Take it and go. Now, to be fair, Elon is really talking out of pocket, and Trump has not responded. In all honesty, that's actually smart. It's really smart, because at the current moment, these two, I would say that they're probably the largest figures in MAGA. Elon, mainly because of his money and some of his influence, and Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. He holds a lot of pull, and he has the largest platform, I would venture to say, on the planet. So it is not a smart idea for Trump to just give this guy free rein, criticize the criticism that he has for the bill, and you have no idea what kind of state of mind Elon might see your message in, given the fact that there are reports out the wazoo stating that he's been taking countless amounts of ketamine, amongst other things, obviously. If Trump were to speak up now about this matter, it would divide MAGA, because MAGA's already divided. Many people, especially something that Elon reposted, Stephanie Tyler, she said, Fox News comments is a great place to understand conservative views since they get so much traffic. I was curious what the people were saying about Elon-ish taking the big beautiful bill, and I'm shocked. Almost every comment is in agreement with Elon. And I know it says show more right there, but underneath it, it says, the GOP better be real careful. Another person said, I agree with Musk on this one. This is one area where I'm not happy with Trump.
You have stupid MAGA brain.
One other person said, Elon Musk's warning hits deeper than most realize. Excessive government spending doesn't just threaten our economy, it threatens our freedom. Ooh, the freedom's on the line now. So it seems like people are taking Elon's side on this one, albeit for their own selfish reasons. But there was only really one voice I wanted to hear in this. There's really two, but I know he's not going to say anything as of yet, which is Trump. Trump hasn't said anything yet. So the next voice I want to hear is, what does Mike Johnson have to say? They held a press briefing to talk about this bill. They know that they can no longer just address the bill in the manner that it's currently shaped. So the idea behind what they're doing now is set a different premise. Say that the bill is meant to protect. This is why we have to sign this. Listen to this, y'all.
Well, good morning, everybody. And let me begin with this first. My thoughts and prayers go out and are with the victims of the anti-Semitic terrorist attack in Boulder, Colorado recently. The Jewish people should absolutely not have to face this violence anywhere, let alone in the United States of America. Recently, 2 young people were shot and killed in our nation's capital in an anti-Semitic attack. And if that wasn't enough, Holocaust survivors are now actually being burned alive. This is the outcome of everyone not condemning anti-Semitism everywhere.
You're with her so far, right? You have to just double check and make sure, because I looked at the header and it says, Speaker Johnson and House GOP leaders hold press briefing after Musk trashes budget. That makes me think they're going to address not just Musk, but they're also going to address the budget. So it struck me as kind of curious as to why she's talking about this subject. You can talk about it if you want to. It's just their weekly press briefing. Where is she going with this? Keep listening.
And I hate to say it, he might not be the only one plotting an attack. Why? Because under Biden, he let in tens of millions of illegal aliens. So the risk is even greater. Folks, this is a serious situation that we need to begin to deal with and deal with it swiftly. And that's why the Senate must pass the one big beautiful bill. Congress must give our law enforcement.
That is a hell of a lead-in. This is why you need to pass the one big beautiful bill. Has nothing to do with the budget, has nothing to do with the cuts, has nothing to do with who is going to benefit from this the most. No. This is a bill that will protect. It doesn't even have anything to do with Marjorie Taylor Greene's AI.
Officers the resource they need to detain and deport violent, illegal criminals.
Is that the only thing in the bill? On top of that, if you really wanted to just pass that, you can create a separate bill that addresses just that matter. But let me guess, you don't want to do that, right? You want to pass everything. So what else is in the bill? Mike Johnson, he came on last, did his speech, and then he got to the question and answers part. That's the part I really want to hear. So here, let's go.
Site capabilities to the SBA by limiting the number of for-profit small business lending companies. These are common sense provisions. They deserve to be signed into law, and this is a continuing series of things that we've signed into law, executive orders. There are many more to come, and you'll see the House continue that effort in earnest this week. Let me take a few questions. I can guess what they'll be. Chad.
Here we go.
How can you explain the fact that Republicans voted for this interim spending bill back in March, greenlighting this money, and 2-3 months later, then you want to take back that money? That seems inconsistent.
Well, if you're talking about, for
It's such a setup question because it's meant to address USAID. The only answer Mike Johnson could really give of why they would want to cut USAID, the USAID program, is because he can just say, we just wanted to readjust it. This is all about analyzing the fraud and the waste and the corruption of what was going on in USAID. Once we address that, then we can actually get back to renewing the program for what it was meant to be used for, as opposed to all the slick things that Democrats apparently were doing inside of USAID without anyone's knowledge. So they wanted to analyze it, fix it, and then re-implement it. That's the only answer he could give.
It's inconsistent.
well, if you're talking about, for example, this USAID money and this kind of stuff,
But that was approved in the CR back in.
Yeah, it was. And here's the point. This is a critical point. When I met with Elon in his office back in early February, he had just gotten into it. They were just uncovering the USAID abuses. And they went after USAID first for their review, their audits, because USAID screamed the loudest, opposed the loudest of this accountability measure. And so they effectively put, the scrutiny target on their own backs. And Elon and I were in his office late one night. We were talking about this, and I said he had finished USAID. They were just starting on Social Security, and he was finding all these abuses. And we were talking, and he and I were getting increasingly excited together about this new era of accountability. And it occurred to me we were excited for different reasons. And I said, Elon, you're excited because you're looking at this as a data analyst and a scientist, and I'm looking at it as a constitutional law attorney and a legislator and his novice historian, right? But this is about more than saving money. This is about restoring the framers' original vision for the Constitution. The framers of our...
I gotta admit, I like that. Restoring the original vision of the framers. Okay, I like that.
magnificent form of government, our matchless Constitution. What they envisioned, and in fact what they designed, was a small, lean federal government. They wanted most of the power reserved for the states, for the people at a local level, the closer to the people, because there's more accountability and efficiency. And so the DOGE effort overall, what it does is it restores the framers' vision, because what Elon was able to do, what he's been able to do, what DOGE is able to do, its lasting legacy, is they cracked the code. They got inside the belly of the beast. He was inside the bureaucracy of the agencies with his algorithms, crawling, finding all the irregularities.
The guy's smiling to the left.
He did something we had never been able to do before, Chad. Not as long as I've been in Congress, in 9 years, and not for decades. I told Elon that night, I said, you're doing something that we were not capable of doing. We've tried to perform our oversight responsibility, but Congress has not been able to get the things that to uncover the abuses that you found. We didn't know we were funding transgender operas in Peru, obviously, right? We would have stopped that. But our committees did their diligent work. They've done oversight. They've had hearings with the heads of the bureaucratic agencies, the executive agencies. Subpoenas have been issued. But never did they turn over this level of data and this level of detail. It was unknowable to us until now. And so, yes, we can't act fast enough on these rescissions to claw back these abuses.
To be fair, Mike Johnson does look like he would enjoy a transgender opera in Peru.
Because it happened without Congress's knowledge. And that's a really important thing to point to. And look, you give credit where credit is due. And I credit Elon and the DOGE effort for doing that.
Doesn't that undercut
But-
Congress? I mean, if that was
No,
Congress...
no, Chad.
I understand the uniqueness of his situation.
Yeah, but what it's going to do, the lasting legacy of this, and the reason it's so important, the reason they deserve accolades, is because they have done a reset in Washington. Now, everybody knows what the abuse is, not just Congress, but the American people. And we'll be able to demand and ensure greater accountability going forward, and that is a huge innovation. Back row, yeah.
Yet you've been shown no specifics.
Elon Musk was sort of alluding to electoral threats against Republicans who voted for the big beautiful bill. I mean, he spent $290 million in the 2024 election. How much of a threat is this to keeping the majority in 2024?
Look, let me just address the Elon controversy and tell you that I consider Elon a friend. He's obviously brilliant. I just told you we credit him with all the big changes with Doge and everything else. It's curious to me what happened this week, and I mean, full disclosure, Elon and I had a great conversation, about a half-hour long talk on Monday this week, Monday morning, and we talked about the big beautiful bill, because I think he was trying to make a joke a couple of days earlier. It can't be big and beautiful, and I started the conversation. Oh yes, it can, my friend. It's very beautiful. So we talked about all the record level of savings. My friends, no government in the history of mankind has ever cut $1.6 trillion in a piece of legislation. We're doing that here. I mean, the extraordinary level of savings and the historic level of tax cuts at the same time, and all these great policy prescriptions. And I talked to Elon through all that and explained to him what we're doing, and that this is just the beginning of a long process of making government more efficient and effective, of cutting wasteful spending, fraud, and abuse. And you can't do it all in one bill. It took Congress decades to get to this situation. It's going to take us a little while to get out of it. But we have a very specific plan to do that. And Elon was encouraged by that conversation. It was a very friendly, very fruitful conversation together. And he and I talked about the midterm elections. And he said, well, I'm going to help. We got to make sure that the Republicans keep the House majority. We can't have the president impeached, which is what the Democrats would do on day one, as we all well know. And we've got to continue this. The Trump administration needs 4 years to do all this reform, not 2 years. The Biden administration, Biden-Harris, made such a disaster of every metric of public policy, it's going to take us more than one bill to fix it all. Elon and I left on a great note. We were texting one another, happy texts, Monday. And then yesterday, 24 hours later, he does a 180 and he comes out and opposes the bill. And it surprised me.
Trump will say, I just had a fantastic conversation with people like, I don't know, with Canada, but we're going to implement 50% tariffs the next day. So yeah, like president, like donor.
Me, frankly, and I don't take it personal. We don't take it personal. Policy differences are not personal. I think he's flat wrong. I think he's way off on this, and I've told him as much, and I've said it publicly and privately. I'm very consistent in that. But am I concerned about the effect of this on the midterms? I'm not. Let me tell you why. Because when the big beautiful bill is done and signed into law, every single American is going to do better. This bill is geared for middle and working class Americans, and they are going to feel the effects of it, and they're going to feel it before the midterm elections. So I have no concern whatsoever.
Hear that
I'm
again.
Absolutely convinced that we're going to win. Flat wrong. I think he's way off on this, and I've told him as much, and I've said it publicly and privately. I'm very consistent in that. But am I concerned about the effect of this on the midterms? I'm not. Let me tell you why. Because when the big beautiful bill is done and signed into law, every single American is going to do better. This bill is geared for middle and working class Americans, and they are going to feel the effects of it, and they're going to feel it before the midterm elections. So I have no concern whatsoever. I'm absolutely convinced that we're going to win the midterms and grow the House majority, because we're delivering for the American people and fulfilling our campaign promises, and we'll see how that happens. Second row, Rodriguez, ma'am.
You floated a second reconciliation package. What would be in that second?
You talked to Elon on Monday. He made this 180.
By the American people. Front row.
You mentioned that you talked to Elon on Monday. He made this 180. What do you think changed? Why do you think he's coming out against this now? And have you spoken to the president and Elon since the infamous tweet?
Well, I'll tell you, I called Elon last night and he didn't answer, but I hope to talk to him today. I mean, it's not, it's very friendly, and we've laughed about our differences on policy before. I'm not upset about this, and I think he understands, and he's acknowledged to me before, that this is so serious that we can't fool around with it. I mean, the debt cliff is approaching very quickly, right? All the things that are in this bill are so important for the U.S. economy. It's going to be jet fuel for the U.S. economy. All boats are going to rise. And the sooner we do that, the better. And the risk of not getting it done is enormous, not just for the Republican Party, but for the country. We got to do this. We're going to have the largest tax increase in U.S. history at the end of the year if we fail, and all the other calamities that we've talked about. So we've got to get it done. And I think Elon understands the weight of that, and I hope he comes around. I'd love to talk to him this week, and I hope he calls him back today. I talked to President Trump, all the time, multiple times a day. Obviously, we've talked about this. As you know, he's not delighted that Elon did a 180 on that. But look, I don't know what happened in 24 hours. Everybody can draw their own conclusions about that, okay? But I look forward to talking to my friend about it again, and I'm not upset about it, all right? Yeah. Olivia.
You brought up EV mandates when you were talking about Musk previously. Is that what you think is his motivation for opposing the bill?
Yep.
Manu brought up EV mandates, not me, okay? And I said that everybody can draw their own conclusions about that. Look, I don't subscribe motive to anybody. I try not to do that. It's a good way to live. I just believe that we got to do the right thing by way of policy, and I hope everybody understands. They might not think the bill is perfect in some respect. I mean, a bill that's 1,100 pages long and covers every area of policy and the budget that ours does. Very few people are going to say that's a perfect piece of legislation. But I hope everybody will evaluate that in both parties and everybody
Okay, so I could stop him right there. The EV mandates that he just mentioned. Now, Elon is saying that it has nothing whatsoever to do with this. The bill, as written, makes changes to the Biden-era EV tax credits, which are intended to encourage more Americans to buy electric vehicles. It would largely phase out the clean vehicle credit, which lets people buying a new EV claim up to $7,500 and up to $4,000 for used EVs. And to be fair, amongst congressmen, this really is no secret that they wanted to get rid of this.
In the House of Representatives, but the Senate will be doing some important things this week. We are going to vote this week to do away with the Biden California mandate, which was an attempt by the Biden administration to impose a electric vehicle mandate across this country through the California Clean Air Act waiver. And so we're going to be having that vote later this week. The impact of that particular rule would be devastating across our economy. And now California, by taking that action, another 17 or 18 states have been implicated. And essentially what you've got is an electric vehicle mandate that will be in place almost across the entire country.
Right here, you can see, as sponsored by none other than Rand Paul himself, this bill will repeal the clean vehicle credit. But who knows? Maybe Elon's real agenda is just that he wants to save America. And there's no personal stakes. He's just that much of a freedom fighter. What do y'all think, though? Anyways, that's all I got for now. Whatever your thoughts are, leave them in the comment section. If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like, and I will see you again on the next one. Be easy, y'all.